Hi all, welcome back guys. So in this today video we are going to discuss about the architecture of AEM, like how the AEM is built and how it is used to function that thing. So I have taken a note of my I have taken a picture of my notes, because like if you go through the documentation then it will become quite difficult to understand like what it is actually. So I have tried to like cover in the smaller topics so that you have some idea like how the things work. So AEM application is used, like you are already aware, it is used to create the sites, it is used to create the forms, it is used to store the assets and assets management, and used to create screens and all things. But I will say like the basics of AEM architecture stack is, so let me zoom it a little bit so that you have like better view of this one. Let me a little bit zoom it. Yes, now it's good, I think. So you can see like it is based on the OSGi, JCR and Apache Sling. So you can see it is based on the Granite platform, where like OSGi is the base. On above that there is a JCR, and above that Apache Sling, in between AEM and JCR, and on the top there is a AEM. So let me explain you one by one all the topic, like what is OSGi framework. So OSGi is Open Service Gateway Initiative, but it is now no longer known as Open Service Gateway Initiative. We simply call it as OSGi. Okay. So OSGi enables a collaborative and modular environment where each application may be built and implemented as a small bundle. So inside the OSGi, we can build and implement any application like which can be implemented as a small bundle, and each bundle is a collection of tightly coupled dynamic loadable classes, jar files and configuration files that is explicitly declare their external dependencies. So we can say like inside the OSGi we can create many applications, and all the applications are independent of each other. Okay, now we talk about the second most important thing, that is Apache Felix. So it is a open source implementation of OSGi. So I will say it is a framework. Okay, for OSGi it provides a dynamic runtime environment where the code and content bundles can be loaded, unloaded and reconfigured at the runtime. So it is actually used to, like when we create a bundle, we want to load that, we want to unload that, we want to reconfigure that. So all those things will be taken considered by Apache Felix. Now you know like OSGi is a framework on which we can create our own applications in the form of small bundles, and those are tightly coupled and dynamically loadable classes, jar files, and these are independent of each other. So above that if we go, so above the OSGi there is a JCR. So what is JCR? So JCR is a database that supports structured and unstructured content, versionings and observations. In other words, I will say it is a database that reassembles a file system. So the full form of JCR is Java Content Repository. So it is used to store all the data related to AEM, whether it is structured or unstructured. So all the data pertaining to AEM such as HTML, HTL, CSS, JS, Java, images, videos are stored in the JCR object database. So JCR is built with the Apache Jackrabbit Oak and open source project. So what is JCR? JCR is the database that is responsible for storing the data of this AEM tool. Okay, now the last important thing is Apache Sling. So what is Apache Sling? So you can see in the diagram, right below is the OSGi. We have talked about the OSGi. Now we know like what is JCR. It is a database, and on the top there is a AEM, but in between of these two there is Apache Sling. So what is Apache Sling? So it is a web application framework for content centric application, and it uses a JCR such as Apache Jackrabbit Oak to store and manage content. Sling maps HTTP request URLs to content resource based on the request path and extension and selectors. So what actually happens, like when someone from the AEM side hits a particular request, so Apache Sling is responsible for mapping that request to our resource that is located under the JCR. So if I give you an example, so let's take this example. So in this case, this is the URL. Okay, so inside the URL, you can see this is a method, this is a path, this is a selector, extension, suffix, and query parameters. So we will talk about this in the later video in depth. So what happens, like it will search for the path under under our apps or our lists folder, which is located under the crxte lite. Okay, so it will first go under this path, and after that it will search for the resource type, and accordingly it will map the request of that user in our JCR, and the user will get response accordingly. So this is a very basic video about the AEM architecture. So we will talk about this in the later videos in depth. Until then, you can keep practicing the stuff, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay.